Thank you, Peter, for the introduction and the nice words. Honorable ministers, Undersecretary General, ambassadors, distinguished delegates and guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, bonjour, buenos dias. Allow me to welcome you all to Forest Day 6 on behalf of the Collaborative Partnership on Forest and its 14 member organizations which are hosting this event. I would like to give special thanks to CIFOR for taking the leader in organizing this event, as well as the previous 5. The concept of thematic days at the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change originally started with Forest Day, and as you know, many other sectors and areas have since replicated our model. Forest Day has always opened new horizons and introduced new approaches like the issues marketplace and others. First, Frances Seymour and more recently Peter Holmgren have led and inspired Forest Day, and they deserve our gratitude, and as do all those who have acted as keynote speakers, panelists, moderators, and most especially sponsors, not forgetting the 14 CPF members for the personal, corporate, and financial engagement. In June, many of us met in Rio at the Rio Plus 20 summit. Although not all expectations were met, the Rio Plus 20 declaration will be guiding the future global agenda in the coming years under the leadership of the Undersecretary General of DESA. Unlike in '92, forests appear to have been forgotten at Rio Plus 20, as they were not included in the 7 key issues identified. They were namely jobs, energy, cities, food, water, oceans, and disasters. But perhaps, although not explicitly mentioned, forests were still very present. One of the main lessons of Rio Plus 20 is the cross-cutting nature of most of the challenges humankind is facing today. And forests are key contributing factors to almost all the above-mentioned 7 issues, even for oceans, as mangroves and adequately managed watersheds show. You will recall that the Rio Dialogues with civil society, arranged by Brazil in the days before the summit, identified forest landscape restoration as the second most popular measure, fully in line with the Bonn Challenge, through a vote taken among those present in all the dialogues. It is certain that forests can contribute positively to all 7 key issues. Rio Plus 20 brought sustainability a step forward by underlining the need to approach its 3 pillars in an integrative way. In that sense, forestry is a paradigm case of integration through multifunctional and sustainable forest management. In fact, in 2013, we will celebrate 300 years since the first conceptual definition of sustainability by Karlovitz, in that moment in German with the word Nachhaltigkeit, which was the first step for forest science on the road to modern professional forestry. The Rio Plus 20 concept of future generation rights and the need for long-lastingness in governance is indeed very strong related to sustainability. Rio Plus 20 also called for overcoming restricted economic indicators like GDP. This opens a great opportunity to highlight much more efficiently the contribution of natural resources, and very especially forests, in particular to human development. REDD+ constitutes the global avant-garde of these concepts applied to forests. Forest Day is meeting for the first time in an arid country, Qatar. During the past Forest Days, CPF made every effort to upscale dryland forest issues. There is a lot to do in this respect in order to understand the specificities of mitigation in dryland, very related to soil and underground vegetation, and to assure a balance between mitigation and adaptation so crucial under arid conditions. The bulk of sustainable restoration areas are anyway located in dry areas, and including semi-arid conditions. Mangroves deserve special attention today as they integrate climate change, biodiversity, coastal protection, disaster risk reduction, and livelihoods perspectives while bridging land and oceans. As REDD+ progresses on the ground, increasing attention is given to governance and legal aspects of environmental services and very especially carbon. In the words of the Executive Secretary of the Climate Change Convention, Cristina Figueres, who joined us last year in the closing event of Forest Day 5 in Durban, as many of you recall, the objective of this COP is to speed up global actions focusing on a low-emission future where everyone has the chance of a sustainable lifestyle. As we move toward an inclusive climate change agreement that is to be adopted in 2015 and come into effect in 2020, we collectively need to work together to see that the important roles of forests and trees in climate change mitigation and adaptation are fully realized. CPF will continue to work to highlight these roles and to keep countries realize them in the current and post-2020 climate change arrangement. CPF members work together to promote and support implementation of sustainable forest management. The Collaborative Partnership on Forests, the CPF, has undertaken a number of important joint initiatives. Let me mention a few of them. Last September, the CPF organized an organization-led initiative on forest finance in support to the United Nations Forum on Forest process, including a substantive report. This OLI report will be presented to the United Nations Forum on Forest 10th session next April in Istanbul. At Forest Day, the product of the most recent joint CPF initiative will be released as well. The Global Forest Expert Panel publication, Understanding Relationships Between Biodiversity, Carbon, Forest, and People, the key to achieving REDD+ objectives. This study is carried out over the past year, was undertaken as a collaborative effort of CPF under the leadership of UFRO. Another key initiative of CPF in the past years were the Sustainable Forest Management fact sheets that enable the CPF to speak with one word on sustainable forest management in the context of specific issues like gender, REDD, non-wood forest products, and many others. The CPF was also able to produce a joint statement for its vision on forest and Rio Plus 20, and we will continue to be engaged in follow-up actions to the post-Rio Plus 20 process. Just 2 months ago, CPF released the first edition of the Wangari Maathai Award, honoring this exceptional African woman and Nobel laureate who died a year ago. The collective work of CPF also allowed, just this Friday, for the proposal for the official establishment of the International Day of the Forests on March 21 to be approved by the Second Committee of the UN General Assembly. The recognition of CPF work is evident in several recent UN resolutions, such as the Future We Want, the recent establishment on the frame of the CBD of the Collaborative Partnership on Wildlife following the model of the CPF, or the establishment of the International Day of the Forest. We are enthusiastic about the value these collaborative products bring to the forest community and encourage you to access these products via the CPF website. But Forest Day needs to evolve in accordance to the cross-cutting challenges mentioned earlier. A growing awareness about the challenge to cope with 9 billion inhabitants on a global scale in 2050, with raising living standards, and the way to assure that food, fuel, and fiber, the triple F, and environmental service in the frame of a changing climate, advocates for the need to join efforts with the other land-based activity, namely agriculture. The promoters of Forest and Agriculture Days understand that a single event focusing on those challenges, overcoming the scattered sectoral approach and moving to a landscape-based one would be due. In that sense, CPF announces that this will be the last Forest Day at the United Nations Framework Convention of Climate Change, COP, and that for future COPs, a joint landscape day will be set up, while Forest Day will be continued by the CPF, most likely around important other relevant meetings. Allow me to announce that FAO is organizing with many CPF and other partners next May an international conference on forest and food security. You are all invited to attend. In concluding, I look forward to the discussions today and wish you all a pleasant stay in Doha, successful negotiations for the world climate, and a fruitful thematic other days. Your fidelity to Forest Day made a difference. Without you, Behind Forest Day, RED would never have gained the momentum it has achieved. You deserve a big thank for your perseverance during the past years. Thank you very much. Shukran.